Hey everyone, it's Marina from the Jungle. Welcome to my really untidy home office. And if you've subscribed and you've been here for a little while now, it feels like we're getting closer to each other. So it seems like about the right time to show you how messy my home office is. We're actually moving, so it's more like honestly, it's like the spare room and there's just junk everywhere than a proper home office, but it's doing the trick. So you should feel like, you're a part of the family now. It's also a pretty good theme to use to reflect on our hype circle last week, which was all about discrimination and what it does to us as freelancers. We also surfaced up this phrase that you may have heard called binary opposition. Now, binary opposition in freelancing is a real threat. So binary opposition is where society, but let's talk individuals because that's way more fun, right? Is when people have really rigid views on who they think should be doing the work. Really set views. So all of us have biases inside us and we all have opinions brought from childhood or society, what have you. But when you act upon that bias in a really negative way that impacts people, it's what we're calling maladaptive. And essentially, all of those behaviors are about maintaining power. And this idea of having I feel superior to you because I think, less of you because of X, Y, Z or what have you. And this phenomena of having binary opposition starts to emerge. Now, I'm not going to go into the full details of binary opposition. You can Google it, what have you, but essentially it's really rigid thinking and maladaptive practices and where your bias controls you. Now, for freelancers, this actually becomes quite a risk to not just our mental well-being, because we're fighting against ridiculous, sometimes very outdated, and let's be honest, sometimes very illegal ideas. We're having to fight against that. But it can also mess with our well-being, or it might even impact the way we feel about ourselves and our profession and what have you. It takes a lot of character to withstand a regular onslaught of racism, sexism, ageism, whatever it is. And only a few people, I think, could handle that for any period of time and then go, yeah, I'm all good. I certainly can't, and I get it all the time. And I'll share with you, I have to laugh because it's so bad. I had this politician years ago introduce me to a group of people, one of these private dinners, so wanky, so pretentious, and so pointless. Anyway, she introduced me to the group, and the way this is how it went, right? She didn't have any background. She didn't check who I was or anything. And she introduced me to a group of, largely businessmen, that I was in HR or marketing or something like that. And I was super cute. It was so awful. And I had to stand up in this, like a private room. And I was put in this really awkward spot where I either had to make a decision to go, actually, I'm a numbers person. I know, right? You're wrong. Because I'm a numbers person. For those who work with me would know that I know very little about HR or marketing. But I do know a lot about numbers and all that side of things. But I was put in this terrible box where I either had to fight out of the box and stand up for my profession and my professional standing against probably 60 men, 60 fellas. So I was a minority in that room, and then go, and then probably get judged as being, disruptive, annoying woman. I don't know, whatever it was. Yeah, it was just such an awkward, terrible experience to go through, because I think intuitively I knew that if I were to stand up for myself, I would invoke this idea of binary opposition, saying, hang on, this is the box that we put people who look and talk like you. And if you try to get out of the box, we're therefore going to treat you differently or find you untrustworthy or even scary, which is crazy. But I wanted to take a moment because probably like lots of you professionals out there, I've experienced huge amounts of discrimination. I know I don't fit into many boxes, like traditional ones. Other ones I do. But obviously sexism I've had a lot of. Ageism is kicking in quite a bit. It wasn't that long ago, I want to tell you, not that long ago, I'm talking weeks here. I'm also in this other weird box now where I've been successful and people can't get their head around it. They're like, people like you aren't successful. And I was invited to come to this businessy thing, which I didn't want to go to. I intuitively knew I didn't want to go to. And I did go against my better judgment. And I was talking to this guy I knew from IBM. And he had the audacity to turn around and sort of question the success that, we as a team and a company had achieved. And he actually turned around and said to me, "Oh, you're full of shit." And apart from the fact it was incredibly rude and it was incredibly insulting, obviously said a lot more about him than it did about me, but how entitled he felt to speak like that. It was just like ridiculous. The whole thing was so bad. But what it did serve was to remind me that type of behaviour is still thriving. In fact, some people think it's getting worse than it was 5 years ago. That type of bold, crazy. It's crazy. And as a footnote to that, I just want to let you know I was mentally and I was all okay. I just went and ate as much meat from the buffet table as I possibly could and left thinking I'm never going back amongst that community of people ever again. Oh, hang on, I should also add, I also had to duck when another gentleman tried to lean over and kiss me. Anyway, I don't know. They just feel like that's completely okay to be able to speak and talk to women in the, I don't know. I'm speechless. You got any words of explanation? Pass them on to those fellas, not to me. All right, so seriously, there are a couple of stories, and I'm sure all of you have got stories, and I would love to hear your stories underneath around what's going on with you. But as a freelancer, I want to tell you that we've got your back, right? At the Jungle, we do a couple of things around getting rid of discrimination. One is a lot of our marketing is gender neutral, so we don't say he or she. We will look for opportunities to try to neutralise how, some of the perceptions around things without being all like, greenwashing or whatever it is. We just want to take real people and highlight things just to nudge out some of those narrow mindsets that we see. Second thing we do is with data, where we can actually see who's applying for roles, who are getting the roles. We can start to see bias in numbers. We are all over that. And we have right from the beginning of Jungle to make sure that we are equalising wage rates and opportunity for people, and also educating our customers around these things called discrimination and what have you. And the last thing is we won't stop talking about it. I had someone tell me, you shouldn't do this whole vid, shouldn't talk about discrimination, particularly as a woman. It's the funniest thing. I did burst out laughing. I went, I don't know, mate. I'm in a position of influence and I care for our community passionately. And I think it's almost beholden on us to keep the conversation around discrimination, oppositional, biases, ruling class concepts that really start to strip our society away from enjoying equality. So there you go. There's my rambling video from my filthy little office here in Australia. I would love to hear about your stories of discrimination to give me a bit of energy to fight the good fight. And that's it. Look forward to seeing you all guys in the jungle. Okay, see you. Till next time.